And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Turn on the tube, what do I see? A whole lot of people crying, don't blame me. They point the crooked little fingers at everybody else. Spend all the time feeling sorry for themselves. Victim of this, victim of that. Your mama's too thin and your daddy's too fat. Get over it.
Yeah, get over it here on Declare Your Independence. Just get over it, man. Take responsibility and do some stuff on your own. As you're screaming and yelling at the radio and the television and the, I don't know, your mandatory youth indoctrination camp leader, as you're sitting there in class. There's something you can do. There's something you can do. You can express yourself. You can share what other people are probably saying that you agree with, and one less thing you got to do. You just, hey, man, what this guy said. And it happens a lot, especially when you got social networking tools like Facebook or RTR.org. You guys got to go check out RTR.org, man. They got it going on. Gary, Franchi, and I, we had long conversations of how, this can be done. We're opening it up to the agorists, the voluntarists, and say, man, you just got to get with it, man. They may not be all this Constitution thing, but I tell you, they're for freedom. And I think he and I have become good friends over the years, and he understands. The thing is that I want to get to Ian. Now, Ian, go ahead and let's start off with I'm 16, 17 years old. I'm living in Podunk, De La, whatever, and I got my parents are willing to buy me some goodies. I mean, I'm going, hey, I want to be a talk show host. What goodies do I need?
Well, hey, Ernie, it's good to be here, and thank you for having me. Great question. When I was 16 or 17, that's how I was feeling, although I never had the gumption to ask my parents to buy me a radio transmitter, but that was the time in my life when I fell in love with the idea of broadcasting and running my own radio station. And so, of course, like the dutiful young citizen that I felt like I was at that time, because at that time I had not come across the ideas of liberty in any sort of whole form, I, of course, looked into the FCC to see, well, what does it take? What do I need? I want to run a radio station. This is my dream. So, what is it I need to do? And it was this labyrinth of just maddeningly difficult to understand legalese and regulations and application fees and engineering fees and fees here and fees there, and you need to hire an attorney to just to figure out what to do, to fill in the paperwork correctly, and then even if you get all that right, they may not even be accepting applications, or they might just kick it right back in your face and say, yeah, we're not interested in having you run a radio station. Thanks, but we'll keep the $1,000 application fee or whatever. I never actually could even ascertain what the fees were. I'd imagine they were thousands, but it's so difficult to navigate through their bureaucracy. It's just very hard to find. So, of course, that left me wondering, well, okay, that's basically counts me out because I can't afford to run my radio station the legal way. What if I did it anyway? And that's when I started to, dig into the world of what they call pirate radio. Some people would call it micro broadcasting. Some would call it community radio. And I started to dig into that. And of course, I fell in love with the idea. I still had the idea of running my own radio station, but I fell in love with the idea of just doing it without asking permission. So I guess to get back to your original question, which was essentially, what do they ask their parents for?
Yeah. I mean, somebody's going to buy me something, get me minimum. I told him, I said, you got a laptop, get a Skype headset, man, you're done.
So we're talking about just doing a show, not necessarily starting a radio station?
Well, to start off with, the main thing is content. How do you get your content up? Let's go ahead and talk about the podcast that you use as part of the programming over at LRN. Tell me how that works.
Well, that's something you mentioned, MP3s going way back, and Free Talk Live, like you, has been recording our shows pretty much from the very first episode. We've been recording them and putting them online in MP3 form, and then this wonderful podcast came out, I think, around 2005, which is essentially a delivery method for MP3. So it used to be that you had to go to freedomsphoenix.com, you'd have to actually click to download the show. Now you can put it into a podcast and have it delivered automatically to subscribers, people that say, I want to hear this whenever it comes out. And they get their podcast client, a piece of software that basically its job is to pull down every new episode that you or I or whoever, the podcaster, decides to put up. So it's a handy delivery method for getting MP3s into people's computers and iPods and MP3 players.
Okay, now let's go ahead and
so as far as
let's talk to the 16-year-old here. I his
Right.
father, and I go, what do you want? And he's going to tell him, well, first thing I need is some way to record the whatever's coming out of my mouth. So I would imagine you start off with some software that you can get for free. Now there's free software out there that some of I don't know whether it's a Winamp or something like that. I use a
I think I've heard Audacity. I use the Adobe Audition myself, but I've heard that Audacity is good, and I think that's free, but it's not hard. I mean, if you're a 16-year-old, you know how to work the internet, right? So you're going to get out there and you're going to learn what the different software is, and you're going to find out what exactly it is that's going to work best. You can try different things. And presumably you probably already have a computer, so you probably don't need a new computer. Just install the software and plug in a microphone, or go an extra step and get a mixer. And a lot of the mixers these days are very affordable. You can get them as low as $100 from what I've seen. You go for 150 or 200 and you're talking about a pretty nice mixer. You can get these affordable mixers that have USB connections, which makes them very easy to interface with a laptop or any computer. And basically the way that works is you just get this mixer, you plug it into your computer, and the computer identifies it as though the mixer itself is a sound card. So it used to be that you'd have to get sound cards, these expensive professional level sound cards, and put those in your computer. You don't have to do that anymore. Just pretty much any $150 mixer that you can buy at Broadcast Supply World, which is bswusa.com. Pretty much any one of those newer mixers has the USB option, so it's pretty much plug and play. You plug the microphone in the mixer or multiple microphones and turn the mixer on and you start your recording. You're good to go.
Okay, now what I have up on the screen in the YouTube is I'm showing a Mackie 402, which is a 2-channel, and I have this one. I'm showing another one. It's a Mackie DFX6, and what that means is that it has like 6 channels that you can run. Now, let me explain to you what the only thing that you need. I'm looking at the 402. It has 2 mics that can come in, and then it has outs that will go to your computer. Now, what you're talking about, you want to get one that has like a USB, makes everything a lot easier. The computer recognizes the sound card as a sound card and so on. But
yeah, I'm looking here at the one you're talking about. The Mackie's a good brand, but that one doesn't have the USB,
right.
And that means you'll have to have some level of professional sound card to plug that into. If you get one like an Alesis or a Behringer, which are a little more actually affordable from what I understand than Mackie, they all come with USB these days, and they're so affordable.
Okay, go ahead and I'll search this right now. It's called a give me the name of it again.
I use 2 different brands. One is Alesis, Alesis. And the other is Behringer, which is a German name, Behringer. If you go to Broadcast Supply World, which is my favorite place to buy broadcast gear, and they're not paying me to say that, if you go to Broadcast Supply World, you can find these things there, and you want to look for the Alesis brand is the Multimix.
Okay, now I'm showing it up here, Multimix 4 USB. Now, this is how much about?
$80.
$80. $80. There you go. Dad, I want $80, man. That's to start you off. And when we come back, we'll talk about how you would use this and what a mixer is for. Why would you need a mixer? I'm just talking. I got a mic port on my computer. I can just plug it in there.
Good question.
And just start yakking. It's recording into my free software that I got off of the internet. Why do I need a mixer? What are they for? And it's to mix stuff. Well, we're going to talk about it and how you mix stuff in just a little bit when we come back.